All right, you guys seem to like these crazy experiments of mine. Well, I ordered some of the raw vintage springs on Reverb, I think on Friday, and I already got them. That was some fast shipping. But thank goodness I did a video, I don't know, a year or so ago, and I'll put the link at the end of this one, where I measured a lot of different tremolo springs. And these are vintage springs, at least I know three of them are, but I went back and looked at my measurements on that video, and I was shocked that these were measuring 13 and a half pounds, and I'll explain that. And these were up to 16 pounds, these two here. And this is the thinnest gauge I have, and I'd forgotten it. I want these springs to actually ring out, and you can see I can't get this 15 thousandths feeler gauge in between these coils because they're so tight. And I'm not sure why I left these things on here to begin with. So this guitar is definitely going to sound better. But let's go through the experiment real quick here. And I'll show, well, here's my jig that I call. I just drill a little hole in here to hold the spring like this, and this thing works good. I got a fish scale, and I tape down my little 1-inch scale here, and all I do is line it up to 1 inch and stretch it to 2 inch and read it, and that's it. And you know, sometimes you'll deal with springs being just a little bit shorter or longer than each other, so you know, you might, I don't really move this plate. I just, if it's a 30-second less, I'll just move it up a 30-second less up here. The measurements are so stark, you'll see. I mean, right now I'm getting 14 pounds on this spring and 10.8 pounds on the raw vintage. So let's go do the experiment here. All right, this is the raw vintage. This is one of my vintage springs. Put the little scale in there. Get it stretched out where it's right at the 1 inch mark here. Close, very close. And then I turn it on. Turn it on. So, stretch it out. 14 pounds. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. 14 pounds. That's a lot. Way too much. Now here's the raw vintage. And I'm going to check them all. I'm not going to do them on this video, but as I said, they seem to be just a tad shorter, but they're kind of stuck together when they're new. Hear that pop? I mean, 10.4, pretty much what I got on my original video. Let's do them all just to see what happens here. They'll all be the same, but you can do this at home. Just buy you a cheap little fish scale, digital. 10.4, kind of nice. They're all consistent. 10.44. All exact. .44. One more. 10.4, boy. That was right on. Now I'm going to, hold on a second, I'm going to switch out and pull out one of those even stiffer springs. All right, these are the ones that I think I measured at 16 or something. Yeah, right now it's 14. So I may have switched springs after that, but all right, we're gonna go put all the raw vintage on the guitar, and I'll show you what I'm gonna have to do and how much float we've got now. I haven't changed the tuning, haven't changed the tension on the strings, so it should be floating a lot when I get these all on there. All right, here's the amount of float, but I have to tune up the pitch. This is what happened to the pitch of the strings from E flat to this. So I'm gonna go tune up to E flat and we'll see what happens. All right, I tuned up the pitch. That's what happened to my float. Can't focus on it. It's actually probably where Fender would like it to be. So now I'm gonna go set it where I like it to be, and you'll see what happens to the springs as far as the coils go. All right, I'll do a little bit of an adjustment here just so you can see what. The good thing is I'm going to have more screw in the body, which should transfer a little more energy to the body, because I mean they were just hanging by a thread, these claw screws. So I'll have to go retune it, see if I get the float down to where I like it. Then we'll use the feeler gauges and see what kind of coil separation we got. All right, I'll be right back. All right. I forgot it. Stays in really good tune. I thought I was going to have to lower the action because you would normally have to, and I might lower it a little bit. But right now, it seems to be fine. So, I'll show you the spacing on the coils now. All right, the spring and the zing is back. This is about an 8/1000 feeler gauge. It goes in there. It was going in a little easier. I'd probably get a 7 in there now, but I don't understand why people have Strats. I do understand. I mean, it's good to have several Strats, set them all up differently. But you got to have that nice float if you want Riviera Paradise or anything like that. And you want these coils separated so you get the little natural reverb. That's the charm of the Strat. I don't understand why people block their tremolos, because you lose all this nice ring. Okay, yeah, I went and played it, and it had I could hear the springs, so it's definitely beneficial to have it have the coil separated, and that's it. I understand, I used to keep mine decked all the time because when I broke a string, I could still finish a song. And I saw Hendrix break a string in a video, and he didn't go out of tune, so that's one good thing about it. But for the real Strat sound, I'm a proponent for the floating trim and loose springs. So people keep saying that, well, have you tried 4? Or I've got black ones that are loose, and what do you think? And I keep a lot of people don't know me, but my two of my number one criteria is 5 springs always and no paint. So that's where I come from. I want 5 springs for solid mass back here and just more sustain and ring, and no paint to muffle these babies. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.